Let the blessings flow.
We want to welcome everybody in tonight for watching us. This is our Change Talk Show. Can we give God some praise up in the building? Can we give God some praise up in the building? Man, it's going to be a great night, man. God is good. Ain't nothing like a Holy Ghost party, because a Holy Ghost party don't stop. Man, I feel like this here is going to make the devil mad tonight. This is a good time, man. We give God some praise tonight. Can we give God some praise? Oh, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. We can do better than that. In Jesus' name, man, God is good. God is good. And we got some questions tonight, man. This is our talk show, man. And so we're gonna go ahead and get started. How y'all feel? Everybody feel good? Let's squeeze through here, man. We're gonna come off the rip tonight. Y'all all right? Everybody's good. So I just want to hear every last one of y'all responses. You know what I mean? And so everybody, it's that's your response. And I feel like so our first question is, how do you feel mentally? How do you feel mentally, and are you comfortable in your own skin? How do you feel mentally? Anybody want to take off? How do you feel mentally? Because sometimes I feel like a nut. So, y'all. This is a talk show, so sometimes I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going on with the flow. Can somebody just add? What about you, Trav? How do you feel sometimes?
I mean, it's kind of like a take a day by day kind of thing. Of course, nobody perfect.
Right.
At the end of the day, everybody gonna have good days, everybody gonna have bad days. But, the thing is, just keeping that connection with God and making sure, you stay connected with Him, no matter how you feeling good or you feeling bad at the same time. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing to do.
Okay, I want to ask one of the teens, how do you feel mentally?
Sometimes I'm okay one day, but then it's like the next day I want to break down. And I won't even know why. It's like one day I'll be fine, I'll be happy, smiling, and then the next day I just want to break down for no reason. And I'll be like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I feeling like this? So then I'll just sit and
Sometimes we may be in a spiritual battle, and sometimes things be going on internally that we kind of sit on a little bit. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I know so I know for me is sometimes and I'm feeling what you're saying is because sometimes it hit me when, like, sometimes I feel like I can't make it. For my daughter got killed in that car wreck, and it hit me. And sometimes, I can be going along good, everything can be going good, then all of a sudden, it just hit me. Like on Friday night, I catch it. Because that was the night that she got killed on that wreck. And so now, I'm kind of seeing it now. I'm trying, I see it before it happened now, but it's still, it feels like, sometimes it feels like I can't make it, and sometimes, and many of us, we feel, that some stuff that happened in our life, and sometimes I feel like the enemy, I feel like, sometimes he try to hide things from us, and then all of a sudden it hit us. You never know, we deal with losses in totally different ways, every last one. And somebody don't even have to be dead to be feeling like a loss. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't have to feel. So I definitely. So what about you?
Well, for me, I feel like sometimes I can be good, or like I'd be like good the whole day, or like someone can get under my skin and they just like aggravate me, or like make me feel like, just put you down for some reason that just doesn't make sense, and put you down, and you can go good for that whole day. But sometimes your mindset can change, because you don't have to take what people say. You just go on with your day and be like, I don't have to listen to you, so just go on.
Right, because sometimes people can say some hard things to you, and if it's not what they believe about you, It's really what you believe about yourself. But you know, as these kids, though, y'all know we've been in there, though. You know, as these kids, we can say that all we want to, but when you in that age range, you know, sometimes, you know, that stuff kind of hit us in a different way. You in high school, or you in college or whatever, you know, it hit you in a totally different way. If that makes sense, you know, because I know when I was in school, you know, stuff hit me. You know, I can even go about, you know, not even having a girlfriend or something and fake it like you do got a girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I got a girlfriend. Oh, I got a girlfriend. You know what I mean? We break it nice, you know what I mean? And no, you ain't got jack. You understand what I'm saying? You see everybody else, you know what I'm saying? But then if we really let it play out, that person who with that boyfriend and girlfriend and all this stuff, that might have been a bad timing for that. Because, you know, because sometimes, you know, it may not be good to date in high school or date or have a boyfriend. Not saying, you know, because, you know, and I say this is because that first heartbreak, you don't want that first heartbreak, man. Myself, I would say, hold yourself, hey, get your schoolwork first before, because you got time for all that. But I know, you know, peer pressure at school now. You see everybody walking around holding hands. You know, you want to have somebody. You know, you be like, oh, my phone. You know, come on, now. I know y'all. You know, we all been young before. You be want somebody to say, you know, you be wondering, you know, and what's wrong with me or what's it do? Do that make sense? Or you know, I want that, but you know, I don't know if it may not be for the right timing. Timing is everything. You know what I mean? So timing is everything. I think I would say get to know yourself before you even try to bring somebody else in your life. Because if you don't get to know yourself, you're going to be jumping around doing all kind of stuff, you know. Let me ask y'all a question. Are you comfortable in your own skin, though? Or are you comfortable in your own skin? That means, you know, are you comfortable within yourself? Come on now, y'all know we get over there. Come on now. Y'all already know this. Are you comfortable in your skin? Y'all looking at me like, wait a minute. Are you comfortable being you then? How about that? You know, sometimes, you know, are you comfortable being you? Somebody could just take are you comfortable Byron being you?
You see, at the beginning, I didn't.
Okay.
I wasn't comfortable. I didn't know what was going on in my life. I didn't know what was going on in my head when I was younger. I didn't understand the difference with being okay, and sometimes didn't know why I was so upset. But within myself, I had to realize that it was okay to be different. I wanted to fit in, you know. As a teenager, we don't realize things until we start seeing things in a different perspective. As adults, you know, now we can actually look back and be like, man, why did I even do that? Mm-hmm. You know, but we tried so hard to fit in with the crowd instead of just being yourself.
I know I used to switch up though, you know, like I could be just a nice man, you know, then I get to school, you don't even know who I am. Yeah, y'all, can we really, you know, I be just as nice at home, and then I get my friends at home, then, I'm serious, you know, you want to probably, I'm telling the truth, and see, y'all, this is to be real with yourself. So, you know, sometimes you be with your friends, and, just like even with everything going on, it's just like now, y'all at church now, but let me see you when you with your girlfriends then. Let me see how they do. You got your leggings on? Do you got this stuff on? Do you? If that makes sense, you know what I mean? So you come to church and you say these things, but it feel like are you comfortable being you though? That's one of the things that are you comfortable being you, Raven? Are you grab the mic? Are you comfortable being you?
I would say I'm just now getting to a point where I'm really comfortable with myself, because for a long time I wasn't. I think society puts a lot of pressure on girls to look a certain way or have a certain skin tone or have a certain length of hair. So it was always like a battle like within myself, like, okay, why I don't look like this? But it really took me a lot of time to get comfortable with being who I am and just confident in who God made me to be.
What about you, baby? What about you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm still growing up, so I really can't say, oh yeah, I can look back and like be like, yeah, I should have did that. But I really feel like I still am trying to find myself. Like,
okay. What about you?
I'm comfortable with myself. I could say, well, I can't say really because I'm still young. Right. But at the same time, I'm comfortable with myself. I'm a total goofball.
Mm-hmm.
I can,
And it's okay to be
Yeah.
that. And it's okay because, just being in your own skin and loving you for you. And, sometimes I ain't comfortable being in my skin. Sometimes I am. We young, we ain't talking about the old folks here. We talking about we young. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable being in my skin. Sometimes I'm not comfortable being in my skin. Sometimes, and y'all can sit here and lie to yourself, acting like y'all, sometimes it depends on the setting that you get yourself into. You get somewhere, who you around, how you act, you know what I mean? But, I'm learning now how to adjust to the situation now. Since I just turned 25, So, I think that's a good question. Okay, let me ask y'all something, though. How is school is to you, though? How is school? How do you like school? Do you not like school?
School is school. Like, everybody told me when I first started high school, they were like, oh, it's going to be different. But it's really, school is school. Like, I see the same people that I did last year, the additional people from other schools. Everybody got their own different attitudes. And I don't really like being around a lot of people like that, but I accept it.
Mm-hmm. What about you, then?
I think school pretty much to me, that feels like it's like peer pressure. Like you gotta like try to overcome the things you did to make you look good or have a good appearance to other people, to have like good grades. Good grades are good, but like at the same time you're like, why am I doing it if I'm not gonna have it in the future? You know, right? So like say like math, why all the other stuff to math? Like, what's all this for?
Right. Yeah, this math is something else in school, though. This math really is something else in school, though. That math is something else in school, though. For real, if we can be honest with ourselves, we can really be honest with ourselves. That math is really, 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 really hard now, And some people may say it's easy because you may be good in math. Just like some people may say, just like Byron speaks Spanish. It's real easy to him, but it's hard for me. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, this is so easy when it's really not, because it depends on the individual. You can some people can put in the work, and still miss it. You know what I mean? And so, I feel like, sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to excel and do all this stuff, but at the same time, we know we got to pass math. We know we got to do this, and, and sometimes we might put a little bit more extra in on math than I might have put in maybe in English or something like that, or language arts or something. You know what I mean? Put a little bit more in on math because that comes easy, but math comes harder. So I probably got to spend a little bit more time in math or get some tutoring. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you get some tutoring, and they help you out with that, because that thing, it really are. It's kind of hard, This next question, and we jumped ahead, but that's cool though. How do you feel about under peer pressure? And many of y'all, this ain't just for the ones in high school neither. This for y'all too. How do you feel about peer pressure, being around people that you feel like you got to just do something, you got to fit in? Because sometimes it depends on where you're at in your setting and all this stuff. And I say, we can say we got God and we can say this, but I have learned that I've been in this for a minute, so now I'm more seasoned now. I know I ain't budging to the right or to the left, I'm staying in the middle now. But for the teams and for many of y'all, though, if you've been in this walk for a minute now I expect these girls to be up under, pressure, peer pressure. So how do you handle peer pressure, though? How do you handle it now, though?
So I'm not comfortable in it.
Right.
It just, my mind starts racing. It's like, okay, I know I want to do this for myself, but then I feel like I'm doing it for other people. So, so then it's like, it really makes me not want to do it because I feel like I'm doing it for other people. But I know deep down inside, I'm doing it for me and my future.
Right. That peer pressure, what it does to it makes you peer pressure. You got to see the hidden target behind it, And what it is to make you do something that you really don't want to do. And then later on, you'll regret that you did it. Do you see what I'm saying? It'll make you, but you be up under pressure, and then I feel like peer pressure, it makes you go numb. And once you go numb and you don't have no feelings, and so you just go along with it. You can know what's right, and you be like, I just go along with it. But we got to know when that pressure is coming. When we got to know that is a boundary, that I can't go above this boundary. You know what I mean? So I got to set some type of standard for myself. You know what I mean? So, because that peer pressure is something else. Even I want to talk to some of y'all older ones. So really, peer pressure is because, okay, think about this. Okay, you out with you okay, y'all in church, but see, many of y'all, you got to really look at this right here. Is okay, you in church. Really, we supposed to be the light. Really, it should not. But some of y'all, you still making the same decision that you made years ago. So it's going to be hard to mentor with somebody when you keep making the same decision. You understand what I'm saying? You can smile in church, you can do all this stuff in church all you want to. But these kids, recognize game. They'll read you in a minute. Do you understand? Am I talking? Am I really talking? Yeah, they can read you in a minute. So y'all can fake it all you want to. You can try to fake it till you make it, but then you ain't going to make it with them. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to be real with yourself, that peer pressure. And I feel like, many of us, we should be seasoned enough now not to fall for the old okie dokie now. Now these kids, now it's something different, you know what I mean? But what you show a kids is what they're going to produce. Y'all ain't saying nothing, y'all right? That's right, the images, you know what I mean? And so you got to make sure that we making sure that we walking right now. Okay, let me ask y'all a question. Okay, is there somebody you can talk to without feeling judged? Because that's where, and I feel like that's where most kids go wrong at, is because they cannot go to the parents and talk to the parents about it. It's because the parents gonna be like, how could you? If that makes sense. So you put your mic up against your mouth. What you saying, baby?
Always a question. Like, if I wanted to be questioned, I could question myself all day on why I did what I did.
Right.
I could sit and think about it all day and regret it.
Right.
So why would I want to come to you for you to just put me down about it?
Right. So what you're saying is that it have to be an open arm. It's saying, hey, can we have a conversation? Can we talk about this right here? Because I feel like, as a parent, though, we got to be able to make some adjustment within ourselves and come and say, hey, let's me and you talk about this right here before you or if you don't, sometimes we've been made some crazy moves as kids. I know I made some crazy moves as kids, you know what I mean? I made some crazy moves, and a lot of them I regret that I did, you know what I mean? Like, dog, and I feel like, because I feel like I didn't have nobody to talk to at that time who can understand me, you know what I mean, and understood me, you know what I mean? So then I went on based on what I feel and what I thought, if that makes sense, But that's what I say, as a parent, we got to open our arms, and we got to be open our arms to say, hey, you know what, come talk to me, even if it's going to shock me. Even if it's going to make me mad, you know what I mean? Because, but see, I'm going to correct you, but, but I'm going to tell you the truth, And I feel like, and I think that's what run our kids to the streets, is because they feel like they don't have nobody to talk to. And sometimes, having, parents or in church and all this stuff, is the fear of being judged or the fear of somebody knowing what you did or how you did it and all this stuff, you know what I mean? And so now sometimes we just sit and not say nothing. And I think that's what the enemy wants. He wants us to just sit and not say nothing so we can run it in our mind over and over and over. So then that's when the guilt comes. That's when the shame comes. That's when, and then, and I say that's when the self-worth comes. Because, if you run it so much, you're going to feel like that, you're going to feel like that. Look at here, hey, well, I done did it. But sometimes we just got to okay, as a parent, we got to set up, we got to talk to them. And we got to make it sure that they understand it or they understand us or be able to understand them. And I feel like, during this time here, I feel like a lot of teens feel like they don't have nobody to talk to. And I feel like that's one of the things, because, okay, now think about that. I want some of y'all older ones to jump in too, because if you feel like you're going to be judged, I'm talking about with y'all now, the way y'all let now. If you feel like you're going to be judged, how do you deal with that?
For a long time, I wouldn't really talk about what I dealt with, just because like I would hold it inside, and I think that made it worse, because then it was just me and my thoughts and how I felt about it, my opinion about it, how I should handle it. But I had to get to a point where I had to trust somebody, and being able to like release like my feelings, my emotions about it, how it affected me, or just even looking from a different perspective of how it may have affected others. That has helped a lot, especially with peer pressure or being judged, because it's so much that, and being honest, even from younger ages up until like 30s, social media it has a lot of influence over all ages. So a lot of times you can feel like you're obligated to do this or look this way or have this lifestyle, and mentally the pressure can get heavy from that if you're not content or just secure in yourself and happy with who you are at the time. But for me, that it take a lot of work, because like Raven said, I'm just now getting to a place where I'm like, okay, this is who I am. I'm confident in that. I don't have to do this just for this person to like me, or when I'm in a certain setting, I don't have to like put on or finesse the situation, like I'm just like this person, or like I'm better than this person. So that can be a journey, but it's worth a journey taken, I can honestly say.
What about you, Ray? What you thinking?
Well, for me, I know just from the age of 15, not once my grandmother passed, that was my person, my go-to, to where I could tell her anything, and I knew it would come with no judgment, and she would just listen and give me an understanding ear and just wise advice. So after I lost her, for me, it kind of shut down. So I understand the dangers of holding stuff in and not being able to talk about it, because like you said, it really makes you numb to a lot of things, and it's kind of hard to come back from, honestly, because you get used to just going through life and taking the hits and not really being honest with yourself about how hurt you are and behind the situation, not feeling like you can be vulnerable enough with someone to talk about that hurt, to talk about that pain, because you don't want to come across feeling like a burden to someone else, or like you're just offloading all of your stuff, or just bleeding all over somebody else. So you keep it inside, and all that does is just build on more pain on top of pain on top of pain. But you have to come to that point to where you have that great release. And I have to say that at 44, that just happened for me maybe a year or two ago, where I had to realize that I have to talk about this stuff. I have to release this stuff. I can't keep walking around pretending like the stuff from the past, far past and not so far past, that hurt me, really hurt me, and really deal with that and be able to be open with it. And not just with other people, but you have to learn to be honest with yourself. And I think you had spoken about this before, about stop walking around saying stuff doesn't hurt when you know it really hurts, because you'll never be able to heal from it. So I got my healing, honestly, after that service, because I had to realize, yes, it's okay to be honest with myself and say, hey, that hurt, and to let that pain go. And as an adult, I mean, you still have to have that person or those people that you feel comfortable with being open and vulnerable with. And yes, sometimes it can be hard, but it's so easy once you let go, and the burden just becomes so light. And I always, it may sound cliche, but I always give it to God, because I know He's always listening and there's no judgment there whatsoever. but for my mental health, I understand that there is a human being that I have to be able to be open and honest with as well. So it's very important for your mental health. It's never good to just keep that stuff bottled up inside, because it really does fester.
Okay. Number 5 question now. This is all of us. I feel like we all can. How do you feel about drinking and smoking? This is before and after. Now before, we probably ain't give a flying flip. And now, as you coming into something, because you know everybody in school is really everybody is smoking, and so that's another peer pressure. Everybody in school is drinking. That's another peer pressure. So it depends on, I say, the crowd of people you hang with. That's who you pretty much gonna become. Now, if you with some kids who ain't drinking and smoking, ain't talking about sex, and you gonna be pretty, you be okay. But if you be with some kids who don't mind smoking, who don't mind drinking, who don't mind staying out late, who don't mind talking back to their parents, you gonna fall in that same situation. And so sometimes we got to pick our friends in a totally different light. You know what I mean? So if we don't pick our friends right, and that's what, because you really look at these things here, the person who you hang with the most, who you give most of your time to, that's who you're gonna become. Right. It's like that's who you're gonna become. It doesn't matter. I got a segment in my sermon tomorrow. How can you be with negative people and be positive? All right. Can't. How can you dance with the devil and then say you're going to be godly? You can't. You got to make a decision. And once you make that decision now, because then, drinking and smoking, then you be like, used to be a time you thought that was cute. And now you sit and look at yourself, you be like, man, all the money I done messed up. But I'm just telling you, I ain't y'all old, but I got to get back to the kids now. Because at the end of the day, is in high school or whatever. Now, when I was in high school, that's a different level then. You didn't, you got one, just being honest with yourself, you know what I mean? So then you thought you wanted to be grown then. And so now when you find out these things, and then, I say why we do it is because we hiding something. We don't really want to know the real person. We're hurting. We don't want to know. We don't want to know that we don't want to realize in this high school that you ain't got no girlfriend, so you want to stay high. That you ain't got no boyfriend, you want to stay high. Everybody in high school talking about they having sex and they doing all this stuff. And so now you want to, you know what I mean? And so now you don't even want to talk about this. Right. And so then you drink. It's like a getaway, but you don't get nowhere. You don't get nowhere. And I say that, when people do it, we just do it. Some people just do it just to do it. No, they don't. Just because they bored. Just because they bored. I'm going to smoke. And some people done got addicted to it and can't get off of it. Let me ask y'all a question. How do you deal with it when you in church still smoking? And y'all? Okay, when you in church and you still smoking and you get to church, hold on, let me finish this question then. And you get in the church and you feel talking about, well, you ain't smoking. And you know you lying. And you know you're lying. Okay, can we be real? And you know you're lying. And so when the pastor get on weed, you get mad. You know what I mean? And you know you still smoking. And you know you still this. And because what I find out is, if I'm praying and I'm going for God and you going for God, so when we come to church, we should have a big agreement party. Right. But see, for the many of y'all, you get up in church and you get mad, so that means you ain't going for God, and so now you're going for yourself, because you got to really look at this right here and see that's when you don't move. And that's when you never get healed, because you come up in the church house fighting. Right. Sometimes when you got that rebellious spirit on you, I don't care what somebody tell you, it don't matter. Because you're going to do it just the way you're going to do it. You're gonna fix it. You're gonna do it just the way you're gonna do it, because you think you know it, and you know you don't be knowing. I meet people like that in business now. I meet people like that. I done met y'all before. Y'all gonna you gonna do it your way, and then the same way you're gonna get the same result because everything started off really good. Everything started off talking good, doing this right here. Then you got to really look what's happening in your life because I say this right here. If I'm praying and you praying, I'm hearing from God, you hearing from God. So we should be in agreement on that service. But most of the time you ain't hearing from God. And so you're going for the money, you're going for this. And so, that's why people do it. They want to hide. They want to hide for themselves. It's some stuff they don't want to deal with. I want to push this. What happened to the secrets in the family that nobody talks about? Nobody talks about it. Kid can't talk about it. Can't nobody talk about it. It's because, guess what? And then the kids get in a place where they cannot talk about it because if not, the parents are going to look at them crazy. They're going to do this here or in a marriage or whatever it is because they don't want to talk about it, but they really need to talk about it. It's going to build up, 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 it's going to build up. I really want to talk about this, but I cannot talk about it. But it's a setting, it's a place for everything that we can talk about. You know what I mean? You understand? It's a place you can talk about it. Because it's like I feel like some kids be smothered is because they can't say what they really want to say. What is some secret that somebody touched you as a little girl, somebody in your family done touched you, or somebody done did something, or somebody done messed with you, or somebody done happened in your family? But we can't talk about this because why not? We can't talk about it. You got to find somebody to talk about it because if you don't find somebody to talk about it, it's going to drive you out there in the streets, and then it's going to be you ain't going to have no worth about yourself. You're going to be doing all this stuff. If there's a lot of stuff we have to talk about it. And sometimes, as a kid, let me ask y'all a question. As a kid, when you really want to talk to somebody and you feel like you can't talk to your parents, let me ask y'all a question because I don't want to put y'all on the spot like this. If you really want to talk and sometimes, like you said, you don't have nobody to talk to, you get judged or whatever, and sometimes we got to be able to, but we got to find somebody we can talk to. Not no little boy, not nobody, what you call it, because what's going on is when I really want to talk about some things, can I really talk? Can some of your older ones, can we just elaborate on this? If you want to talk to your, how did that work for you down when you was a little girl, when you was young?
When I was young, I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody, just because, to be real, I have a black mom, so it's just like sometimes you deal with, the comebacks, and for a long time, I didn't consider how I was communicating to my mom was talking back. And I'm like, well, I'm just asking a question, but I would just, I felt like I would always get in trouble. So I didn't know how to communicate. And then I was scared at the same time. So, it just never got to that point until, I was older and I kind of just built up the confidence and honestly just getting to know my mom herself, like how she communicates, like, okay, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I need to come to her nice, like, I'm dealing with something, or I used to always go to my mom because I could never tell, like, is it a good time or not, because I don't know what mood she's in, or, so I would just always say, like, can I ask you a question? I want to know something, or, just try to ease in there, and then I would feel comfortable. It honestly depended on how she responded to me saying, can I ask you a question? And if I felt like she wasn't in the mood, or we it's getting hot, then I'm just like, I might wait until later. But then I come to find out that my mom always wanted to talk to me, but I never opened that door for her. And then I didn't realize that my mom actually, we both dealing with things, but sometimes we just look from our perspective, oh, my parents tripping because they act like they can't have no regular conversation with somebody, or like I'm really dealing with this. And sometimes when I couldn't talk to my mom, I could only talk to my friends, the people that I was surrounded by. But if I ain't have no good friends,
right.
we might not even talk about it.
You got no good friends.
Right.
So now, and I say this, parents, I hope y'all hearing this here. So how, Livia, how would you handle that? How would you, and it's okay, you can talk a little bit. Your daddy got you.
I can pretty much piggyback piggyback on Diamond, because my biological mom, I would kind of do the same thing where, because I usually would want to talk to my mom, but at the same time, like, I really wouldn't, because, like, I just didn't know how she was going to respond or how she was going to react, because like, my mom can have so many emotions at the same time, but she just can't show it at just one emotion at once. But, like, it just comes out all at the same time. So it's kind of hard to, like, talk to her or, like, talk to her about the things that's happening, because, like, it kind of makes me emotional because
It's okay.
it's like I can't talk to my mom.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This is what it is. This is what we have to do. Time to sweet seat with her. Yeah, sweet seat with her. Yeah, because this is have to be talked about, and it's okay. You know, and these are this what many. It's okay. It's okay though. It's okay because this what many kids get off the rail there. And if we don't talk about this stuff in church, in the church, we so busy trying to get you saved, and then we get our kids go out here and they running rapidly because they feel like they can't talk to their mom. And I hope plenty of moms around here listening, because you got to really look at this. And that's why you got to be stable-minded, you got to be open-minded, and you got to have that communication. Because if you don't have that communication, then you got to realize that so many of our black sisters is trying to find themselves. And so now we still trying to date, we trying to find a husband, we trying to find this, we trying to find that, and then all of a sudden we mad at ourselves. And so when our kids is starving to talk to us, we still trying to find a man. We still trying to find stability. We still trying to find a job. We still trying to find a house. We still trying to get ourselves together. And our kids is dying. It's really dying on the inside when they trying to release themselves and want to talk to mom. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and sometimes, you know, this, and I hope, you know, the ladies that's watching us around the world, even in here, you got to make sure that you have that communication line. Even not just that, just as a man, you got to open up. That's why I always call Zion, ask you okay, you good, you okay, we can talk, you can, what you call this, because I want my son to be able to come talk to me. Because I feel like, you know, sometimes, and I feel like Zion is getting to know me now, because sometimes we have, I feel like you're getting to know me now, and because sometimes that persona being built up on you. Don't tell dad this, don't do this to dad, don't do this. So I want him to be able to come to me and be able to talk to me. And so now with me and him, you know, that he see that, you know, I be saying, man, dad pretty cool now. He don't bother me. You understand what I'm saying? So, but I'm there if he need me. For all my boys, I'm there if you need me. You know what I mean? And so I want to keep that communication line, because you ain't got to go out and talk to nobody else. I done been through so much stuff. I done did more drama. I done did all this stuff, because at the end of the day, but some parents get super saved when they get in church now. To be honest with you, you don't because that's one of the wickedest things that you have to be, even if you ain't even in church, but you got to be able to open up that communication line. Because the worst thing, I have seen husbands in church controlling their wives, I have seen boyfriends in church controlling them, and I have seen parents in church controlling their kids. And that's when their kids go out there and run rapidly, because they don't want, because sometimes, you know, stop presenting all this stuff to them, they ain't got to go out and tell nobody about it. That's what that is, you know. So, you know, I say we all was hiding stuff. I say when we smoking and drinking. I mean, you know, what about you, Trav, though? I feel like, I thought Trav had me, though. I really thought Trav had me, though. I really did. I'm serious, though. When Trav first came, when Raven came through there, I said, man, that's some good stuff. That was some good smelling stuff now. I got to be honest with you, though. I said, I don't know where you got that from. I said, boy, they trying to get me out here in these streets again.
I mean, I think when it came to me, when it comes to that, honestly, the first time I tried to do it was when I was in high school, because it was kind of more so a peer pressure thing.
Right.
But it was like, I didn't really care for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know, I don't need that. But when it really hit is when I went off to college. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, I got put in a situation to where that's the first time I really had all this freedom. Like it's whatever I wanted to do for that day. You know what I'm saying? But that also opened doors for me to go out and try different things and, you know, just do different stuff like that. So, you know, once I went to college, then it was just like, oh, it's up from here, so I'm finna just do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Just because, like I say, I got that freedom. So, you know, I ain't got no restraints. I ain't got to say like my mom, like, Travis, you know you ain't supposed to be doing that. Because my mama stayed doing that to me growing up. You know, so it's like, I'm really thankful that I did have that growing up. You know, even though I didn't have it perfect. And I still messed up a lot too. You know, but just to have a parent there willing to be like, hey, it's a different way. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to live like this. You don't have to seek and search for the wrong things. You don't have to feel like, oh, you got to be like everybody else. You got to smoke, you got to drink, you got to do all this kind of different stuff because, you know, God got you as a special person. You know, so like I said, that was a big thing for me growing up. But, you know, all of us, we all went our own way at some point in time just because we felt like the older people ain't know what they were talking about. I'm going to try this, and I'm going to make sure it's going to be a different outcome. But it's still always the same outcome. You know what I'm saying? And for real, you know, it took a lot of time for me to keep going through that cycle and understanding it's just like, man, I ain't even had to put myself in a lot of those situations that I did. For real. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I did gain the experience to learn from not to do that. So like I said, at the end of the day, I can tell somebody else, because like I say, that wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, somebody else is dealing with the same thing that I've been dealing with. You know?
Sometimes, man, you be smoking that weed and it make people look better.
Yeah.
They make people look better.
Yeah.
You be smoking that weed, you know, everything intensified. You know, you be like, oh, it's so good. And then when you get off of it, you be like, man, what was I thinking, man?
That was true.
You know what I'm saying, man? You know, you be like, man, they so cute, man. They be so cute. That's when you high.
Right.
You high. You don't realize this. You know, you been smoking that whoop. You know what I mean? Like, man, oh man, look at that man. You know, but then and y'all ladies now, you be like, man, look at they look like they cute. And then all of a sudden, when you get off of it, you be like, what in the world was I thinking? And then you see them at Walmart somewhere, you start running. You be like, man, what in the world was I thinking about this? I ain't saying that. I'm going to leave that alone. But I feel like, man, I don't know how he calling me. Let me say, I'm tell you, know, what really got me, you know, I feel like I seen the disgust, I've seen the hurt on my mama when I got busted with them drugs. I feel like, I mean, she really was hurt. And, you know, and the crazy part about it is she was hurt. You know what I mean? Because she didn't raise me like that. And I think, you know, for the first time, you know, most time I go to jail, I don't see my mama. You know what I mean? And so, you know, that's how I called to get me out. But this time they brought me in handcuffs. And I seen her. I'm like, man, I can't do this to her. I really can't do this to her. I ain't know if I'm going to get out or not. You know what I mean? And so from that point on, I think on my road to recovery, I said I ain't drinking no more. I ain't smoking no more. So I'm trying to do right, you know what I mean? And so then after you get out there, you pick up another high.
Right.
I'm gonna leave that alone. But how do you set boundaries with people you love? How do you set boundaries with people you love? How do you set boundaries with people you love? And since anybody want to elaborate on that? You know, how do you set boundaries on people you love? You know, sometimes the greatest gift that you ever can get from people is to step away from it. Now, when you know, sometimes, you know, how do you set that boundaries? Is because, you know, sometimes, you know, I ain't gonna fool with you like this. You my cousin, or you my folks, or you my auntie, or whatever it is, or my folks, but I cannot keep doing this. I don't want to do this, so someone set my boundaries, if that makes sense. I don't want to hear, you know, because we gotta set some boundaries some kind of way though. You know, how would you say, Trav?
I would say really start with first learning yourself too. Because like I said, once you learn yourself, then you know what you're going to put up with, what you ain't going to put up with, what you can deal with and what you can't deal with. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, it's people, which I've been there too, like when you don't really know yourself, you'll put up with a lot, or deal with a lot, or overlook a lot. You know what I'm saying? Red flags.
I'm ready. I promise you in it. You in it. I promise you in it.
For real.
Got a portion in that by that tomorrow. It's like, you know, but you know, and I really had to do something this week. I really did. I had to forgive serious. I had to really forgive because sometimes you put up with stuff when you don't forgive. And I ain't talking about, no girl or nothing, but some people been rubbed me wrong a long time ago. And I had to catch myself, and God revealed something to me. You still being salty about this 20 years ago. How they can make that move on you now? How can they get that effect out you now? You know what I mean? And so, I had to, like being able to, and there's, some personal in my life too, though. I had to really forgive, Sometimes we got to forgive ourselves. If you don't forgive yourself, you'll never find out who you are. Because you'll hold on to too much junk. You know what I mean? And so this is what it all come down to. So tell me how you deal with the boundary of the loved one. How do you deal with it?
It's a hard question. Because I really feel like when it comes to my family, I really feel like I don't set boundaries, or anybody. I really feel like a lot of times I let people walk over me just because of how I was raised. I wasn't raised to mistreat nobody because they mistreated me. So I feel like I always let people walk over me. I always give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Well, maybe I did something wrong in order for them to treat me the way they did. I always think about that. I always go back and be like, well, what did I do wrong? Why did you do me like that? Like, what did I do to you to make you feel like that?
Sometimes we have to look at things. Maybe that person didn't really know who they were during that time, or because sometimes, it's like life deals us hands that sometimes that person who really done that or did that, they may be in a bad spot in their life, and then, sooner or later they would come to themselves. And sometimes and I'm trying to say something that's going to mess up the religious world. Sometimes coming to yourself is just sometimes we say have common sense, and sometimes common sense ain't common.
Right. So.
You know what I mean? And so sometimes you have to really look at yourself and say, you know what, though? Well, if it was me, I'm going to give you the best advice I can give you. If somebody doing me bad and I still got to put up with this, I got to find somebody who I could talk to in my immediate family and say, hey, they doing me like this. Because then they can go check them, you know what I mean? Because, sometimes, when the family members, and sometimes we can't even much, and if you can't find a family member you can talk to, you got to talk to somebody, because that stuff going to be internally. And if it's internally, it's going, sooner or later, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in that time that, y'all might be at the family function. Tear it all up, You say some stuff to you know what I mean? So sometimes it's not good for somebody to just keep holding on. Because sooner or later I got to talk to you softly and say, hey, why you treat me like this? And that's where it's all come to. What you got to say, Donna?
I was just going to say, I dealt with that before, because I feel like the people closest to you, they trigger so much of your emotions. Because you just have so much love for them, so you would expect the same. But when, people are on different journeys, sometimes, your expectations, they might be a little too high for the timing. But what I had to do was talk about it to somebody. And then I was able to realize that I did have to forgive. I did have to be honest with myself, I don't like this, or, like Charles was saying, this is uncomfortable, or this is, making me feel less than, or, sometimes people make you feel what you're not, or who you're not, if that makes sense. But once you, being able to forgive somebody, this really doesn't have anything to do with me, then me being honest in that moment, then I'm able to set a boundary of respect. And I would say respect for myself, but also respect for that person. Just because they're saying this, I'm not going to come back real quick, because my mouth used to be slick, okay? So I'm not going to, come back and say something worse, or just because I feel like you doing me wrong, or whatever the case. I really had to know in my mind, okay, it's not about me. So I'll just respond okay, yes, ma'am. Now, it was hard in the beginning, okay? But I saw the results in it. Like, I got less responses that made me feel less. I got less responses or, things said to me that I felt like made me feel, like not worthy. And sometimes when you deal with that, you reach for worthiness elsewhere. And then people don't realize that you're doing that. And so you feel like, well, I'm going to keep this to myself because they don't really like me anyways, or whatever the case is. But definitely setting boundaries with myself, as in like releasing, being honest, and setting a line of respect. Because either way, for me, it was with my mom. So I had to be like, she gonna be my mama regardless. Like, I could be mad with her tomorrow, or she can get on my nerves, or I can get on her nerves, but that's my mama. So I have a respect for her at the same time, but set a boundary of respect, and then just be consistent on your end, just in that case, and then you'll see the results.
I think sometimes, and I say this right here is, and I'm going to say this is, sometimes easily be said, that hurt my feelings. And I say this is, that hurt my feeling because I'm learning that. I'm learning that, that hurt my feeling, or, because sometimes we want to talk, I feel like, Sarah, you want to answer that question? Come here, Sarah. Hey, Sarah finna come and help us. Come on, Sarah, going to help me out with this. Sarah going to help us out. Because she just comes from her open house, man, military. So, okay. Help me out with that question.
What's the question?
That question was, how do we set boundaries with the people we love? And, we was talking about this. And I say this in not getting off on this. I think parents done messed us up, too, to make us hard. Because y'all remember the time we used to get whooping, and they tell us, you better not say nothing. It don't hurt. And so they made us toughen up. You understand what I'm saying? You better not say nothing. You better not cry. And it hurt. I tell Zion, used to tell Zion, if you fall and it hurt, it's hurt. It doesn't matter, because sometimes we can try to toughen people up, and we know it hurt. Because I know sometimes, setting boundaries with the people we love. How would you do that, Sierra?
I think the hardest thing for me was setting boundaries, but I live in your house. So it was like, how everyone would be like, you in my house, like, what you? So I think at a young age, like, it just came to a point where it had to be a mutual thing, not just a me thing. Because it's hard to do that when someone doesn't see that each other are the problem. So I think it's a mutual thing. I don't think you could grow properly. I mean, this could be wrong, but from my experience, you can't grow properly in the same household unless both people are trying to come to a mutual understanding of each other. So when I had to set boundaries, that's how I had to make the decision to have a conversation about everything. Things that hurt me and things that I've done to the other person, whether I felt it was valid in the moment or not. We both had to come to a mutual decision to sit down, conversate about all the trauma, all the problems I felt growing up, all the problems that I may or may not be still experiencing now, and come to a common ground. Or if it comes to a place where a person doesn't see that there's a problem, it's hard to find any type of resolution. Right. So until that happens, in my experience, it didn't start growing properly. Because we used to have cycles, like where we would say we're over stuff, and we would say we forgive each other. But then one heat of an argument, you throwing back out issues that used to happen. So we had to literally talk it through, and we still may have our moments, but it's coming from a different place. So until the people in my household came to a decision that we both are gonna, or we all are gonna talk about this trauma that we've all been through. Because a mother, a grandmother, an uncle, a father, whatever, they're human too, and they make mistakes just as well as we do. And it took me realizing that the people in my life are just as human as I am, and just as much as capable of messing up just like I am. But as long as we're trying to strive to a common ground, I don't see how we can't grow properly. So that's how I establish boundaries, talking about it, and then setting it straight. Like, if you want a certain reaction out of me, there's certain ways you need to handle me in order to get that kind or a proper response.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Come on with it. But I think, and this probably help. This gonna help you. Okay, now, okay. Because I see this right here is a kind of touchy thing for you, and we can talk about this, But sometimes you got to be able to go to them and really, everybody have to be in that space to say, hey, it's like opening, you know what I mean? Because sometimes some people just honestly don't even know they're doing it.
Right.
Okay, go ahead, come on. I want the kids to talk about. Okay.
Well, I was just gonna say that one thing I used to do when I was younger was I used to write my mom a note. Because sometimes when you talk to them and you don't, they might lash out at you because they're not understanding. But if they take the time to read and actually think about what you are saying, it hits different. So that was just one thing I used to do, like when I was their age.
Well, sometimes, and I say this is because, I think sometimes you have to be able to be in that space. Sometimes, parents, we have to be open. Go ahead, come on. I want y'all to.
Or sometimes you just don't have a mother or a father to talk to at that point. Like, you don't have a mother to, tell you about womanhood or, the things you can go through life. So if you don't have it, you really can't really talk to no one about it. Or you can talk to someone that's older than you that you can see as a spiritual mother, pretty much. I feel like that. You can have multiple other moms in your life that are just spiritual.
I think, sometimes, even talking, I think they make people to talk to counseling, because I ain't gonna, say go talk to somebody. I would say go to somebody, a professional, and talk to them about it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you go talk to somebody else and then they done got your business and they done ran and then they done took these kids and destroyed them. So I would say get somebody professional and be able to talk to them. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, because sometimes somebody can give you the wrong information and have you going off, you know what I mean? Off how they feel. Or they might have raised up in a totally different way than, you know what I mean? They might have raised up in a hard way. My mama was very soft, and I gotta be honest with you though. My mama was, I can say my mama was a perfect mama, and I ain't gonna even lie to you. Cause she was soft there, you know what I mean?
I can relate.
My brother didn't know. But she was the softie, you know what I mean? And so, I could talk to her, you know what I mean? Like now, since my mama gone, and I don't have that to be able to talk to her. And I think that's just the most lonely things for me, because I can tell her, and she gonna back me up. Regardless, wrong or right, she gonna back me up now, and she gonna tell me, off first. Yeah, she gonna tell me off. But that covering that I needed, like now, like some things that I go through now, I be wanting to talk to her, and I be wanting to share things, but not just bad things, just like good things, like, okay, the old boy doing good now, the boy, old boy ain't tripping now, he ain't doing this, or he ain't doing that, old boy ain't cheating now, for real, old boy ain't lying, old boy ain't doing, you know what I mean, so now I can go to her and I can talk to her, because she used to be on me, not just this, she's on me, why did it take so many women, she used to ask me that, you know what I mean. And these are the things that, see, I'll be real with y'all. I don't be real, but I'll be real, because she asked me why they take something, and I couldn't even answer that. Because, but then I think out of fear, that's why I'm telling y'all young ladies, don't, and I don't want to tell y'all don't, but when you get a boyfriend and you get damaged, not saying that, if you get damaged, you don't trust nobody after that. You don't fully trust nobody after that. You know what I mean?
I really don't. Well, yeah, I understand that, but I really feel like it could be with anybody. Anybody could damage you if you let them. But then it's also, it's like I don't want to be like, I want you to understand me, but it's like it's all about trust. Like if you don't trust somebody, or if you're not comfortable with them, if they've done something to you, spread your business to the next person, you're not gonna trust them again.
Right.
And I'm saying that because that's how I am now.
That's
so
right.
it's like I tell certain people certain things. I don't let everybody get close to me. So it's like sometimes if you like everybody be like, are you mad? Like I don't be mad, but I just watch my surroundings. I know who to talk to, what to tell, and who to tell. But then it's like with the whole parent thing. When my mom passed away, that's who I could go to. Like she understood me. I was her child, so she knew how to handle me. She knew how to talk to me. She wouldn't throw stuff in my face, even if I was wrong. She would never bring it up. Even if she got mad at me, she would never bring it up. And I feel like that's the problem now. If I come to somebody, they get so defensive when you try to confront them about their self. When you just want to have a simple understanding and just get a point of view of each other. And I feel like that's where I am now. Like I'd rather just hold it all in and just not talk about it because I don't want to deal with the backlash of you getting mad at me because I'm trying to confront you about how you're acting, but I also know what I did wrong too. So it's like I'm trying to apologize, but I also want you to see where you went wrong.
Right, and I think this way it comes to the parent or the adult to say, let me take a look at me. You know, before I'm learning something new, and I had to learn this when I like my boys or something. Now I'm pretty cool. My girls, I'm soft, I'm dad. But I've learned how to be just as soft with my boys as my girls. And because, sometimes, now I got one eye, it's just, but, I think that's what that's what we have to make the adjustment, that adult, we have to make the adjustment. And I feel you on this because sometimes we have to be able to be in that space that, look, okay, with these kids, if you say you're done with it, don't bring it up no more. Be a safe haven to them. When I say this, even in a relationship, same thing. If you say you forgive, if most of the time we don't be forgave. We just say in our mouth, and then we get mad, and then it just come out. Or we just see something, like this, and then you just trigger. That's your trigger point. You know what I mean? And then, y'all know that you don't being forgave. You say you being forgave. You don't be trust that person. You don't be what you call it. You just go along with the flow. That same way, you just go along with the flow. And then I tell you what, the most negative thing you can know about that person, you're going to believe that. Immediately. But the mic back up there, what you saying now?
When you fall out with somebody, it could be family and everything. Family, that's the thing with me. Family is like, that's your family, but at the same time, those are the people that's close to you, so they don't know everything about you. And those will be the people who be the first to bring you down about any situation. And most of the time, they won't even know what's going on, but they always want to have something to say.
But I think you have understanding, though. I think being able to communicate with the adult. That's what I think, being able to communicate with the adult and say, hey, let me talk to you about something. And if let me talk to you about something, maybe I probably would do it this way. Like, I know my mom used to be mad at me, and be like, I was wrong. I'm gonna tell her I was wrong first. And I like me and you to talk about this right here. Now I ain't looking for I don't know no parent gonna really tell kids they're wrong. You're wrong, but like a parent going, but we need to. Yes. But I don't think a parent gonna say, I know some parent might say, borderline, I might have said this wrong, and this is what we got to get out. I just said, as us people, our pigmentation, we got to be softy and say, you know what, though, I missed it on this one. I apologize to you. Right. I really apologize to you. I don't really want to, I really apologize to you because I might have pushed it too far. If that makes sense, as parents, I know I missed it for a minute. You know what I mean? I know I missed it, especially with my older daughter Dominique, I was young, I was 15, I had a kid, and I'm trying to make things, but it's like, I don't know, I missed it, if that makes sense. And so I had to go back and do a lot of apologizing for the things that I did, you know what I mean? So I think, as parents, we have to be able to say, I was wrong. You know what I mean? And not bring up the argument that if you messed up last week, I can't bring it up. If even in a relationship, you said you don't forgive, but sometimes, relationship, man, it's like you want them, but then again, you sometimes, but that's killing you softly. And that's what many of y'all got to really look at this right here is you can't function at your very best and you still holding on to stuff. Go, come on, baby, talk to that one.
Oh, I'm not in a relationship because
okay,
no.
Okay.
But just saying, like, you can tell them so much stuff that's happened to you, but once y'all break up, it's over because they can use that against you like multiple times or like repeatedly be like, tell everybody your business and be like, why you do that?
Right. Right. You got some gangsters, Uncle. So, but we're gonna leave it alone. But anyway, But I feel like this is the question right here. Is that I feel like I think we have to learn how to communicate. Yeah. Like we have to learn how to communicate. It's just like like Dominique, I can say this here. Our communication is good now. You know what I mean? And so now when me and her, I let her come to me and tell me, instead of me, I can be hurt some or whatever it is. I'm not gonna call her and say I heard this or whatever, because I know she's gonna come to me. And so I'm gonna be there to be waiting on her when she's talking to me, and then I'm gonna say, and then she say, used to be the time she wouldn't ask me what I think, but now she asks me what I think. I say, well, by me having experience, because some stuff happened to me too long ago, I said, man, if you had met me a long time ago, I would have told you this. But now, since I'm 25 now, I done lived a little bit longer. So now I react totally different now. You know what I mean? So I don't, most of the time, now if I feel like you're trying to hustle me now, you're gonna get the real. Right. If I feel like you're trying to play with my intelligence, it's gonna be on. Right. But if I feel like it's genuine, you know what I mean? And so I feel like, I'm trying to keep things in perspective though, and I feel like, those questions there is, with family members, what I've learned, family is gonna be family. Yep. That's what I've learned. And I've learned this in a way that, like, just like my sister, she's probably my biggest cheerleader now. And honestly, she been like that for a long time. I just was in a different space in my life. I couldn't see it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's a young person, I try not to hold nothing on my kids. I really don't. I try not, we're going to deal with this and I'll be done with it. Even just like my nieces, they tell me something and, they're going to tell me, and I'll be like, okay, I would do it this way and it'll be this, you know what I mean? Because at one time I did go off on one of my nieces and I felt bad because I wasn't there for her, if that makes sense. Because I feel like, what I'm understanding, a little girl, and I feel like a woman handle a girl hard. And sometimes a woman handle a girl hard, and I don't, sometimes I feel like they be too hard with them, you know what I mean? But a woman handle a girl hard. A woman tell a girl to tail up. But they know though, I'm not a woman though. So they know, they'll tell their tail up. And the son can sit there and look at them, and they leave it alone, you know what I mean? But, sometimes we have to be open and look at our kids and say, hey, but I always say, if you're in that situation, sometimes it's best is sometimes you go talk to a counselor, and that counselor, it'll tell you how to deal with that, because and I feel like, tonight is really like a breakthrough moment, because you know what's touchy and what's not touchy, and that's be my question. My thing is, sometimes you set a boundary, when you feel like you can't talk to them. And, sometimes, sometimes I ain't always right. Sometimes you ain't always right. Sometimes I may come from a parent 15, trying to learn how to be a parent, and I can't even buy McDonald's for myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, for me, I always say, let God be God, and, the folks be, and we be able to talk to each other instead of, being able to tell. Because y'all know our mama think we crazy sometimes. Baby, we was tripping. They thought we was crazy. I know Raven mama thinks she was like, Raven been a good girl, so I ain't going to call her. So Raven mama think that. I just don't believe that. Raven, me and Raven have a relationship. Raven is the only somebody I ain't said nothing to him. Raven is the only somebody I ain't saying nothing to him. Y'all know that. But these girls say I love it when they come out there and talk, and so this is what it is, And I say this, but I think that the greatest love that when I say that, and I understand. I had to learn this about my dad. It's probably the way he was raised. It's probably the way they was raised. They was raised to be hard. They was raised to be this here, and you know what I mean. So it's gonna be hard to try to get somebody to be loving and understanding when they never been loving and understanding. If that makes sense. And so you got to be able to say, hey, but sometimes we got to make sure we look at our babies and the people who we say we love. We had to be able to look at them and say, hey, what's wrong with you? And be able to dial back than the way we feel it. Again now, if you're single and you still out here in the dating world and you're not settled, that's going to be hard to go to them and really get some concrete. Because they still trying to figure themselves out. Right. And so now the man may not be right, the kid, everything may be going crazy. And so sometimes the only somebody I say can do this right is God. Now if they got a relationship with God, and they're going to have peace within themselves. So it's going to be hard to get counsel for somebody who ain't got a relationship with God, because they're going to come at you in a totally different. I ain't just talking about going to church now. I'm talking about a real relationship with a soft heart and say, look, this is where we at. Y'all good? Yeah. That was a tough one. You got out there. That was a tough one. Now. Okay, question number 7. How do you ask for help when you don't understand it? How do you ask for help when you don't understand it? Sometimes we don't realize that we need help. Sometimes, sometimes we just don't realize we need help, and we know we need help. Sometimes we just don't feel like we need, and if we don't understand it, that's where it all comes down to. Like an understanding, what's going on in our life, and how things is happening, sometimes that would then pride kick in. Sometimes now we know we need help, but we just don't want to ask for it. And so we don't want to ask for it because it's no time to point the fingers at nobody else. So this is, and I think we've been so used to pointing fingers at everybody else instead of looking at ourselves. How would you answer that, Byron? Help me out.
I feel that sometimes it becomes you fear somebody seeing a weakness. You think that people will see it as a weakness to ask for help. But growing up for myself, I used to get my parents used to always try to talk to me. They were just always there. My mom used to always be there for me. But I used to always be rebellious outside of the house. Mm-hmm. Because my parents used to, show me love. They taught me right and wrong. But when I was outside, that was a different story. So I didn't know, and I didn't know how to deal with this boiling feeling inside that I didn't know if it was something that was wrong with me or if it wasn't anything wrong with me. So I didn't know how to ask for that help. I just reacted by fighting and acting out and doing things or lashing out to people. So, now it's a little different because of where I've been, now I can relate to certain things that most of these kids are doing. And I can help them or I can talk to them, especially with our own kids. I can, be able to be there for them and show them because of my dad. You see, my dad wasn't the one to really show us that love and affection, but his ways of doing things was completely different because he was in the streets since he was 11 years old. He didn't have his mom or dad, so for us it was for him, I guess it was natural how he was showing us love.
Right. That's what I was saying even about with my dad. My dad them used to whoop them all the time, and so they don't know how to say, I'm proud of you. Or you're doing a good job. Or this, because it depends on how they was raised. And I used to get so mad because he never came to one of my football games. Never, I remember one time my dad came to my baseball game. Now, if I was the happiest time of my life, you know what I mean? So those are the things, those areas that teaching me about, women's and all this stuff. He didn't teach me this, you know what I mean? So I learned everything I learned from the streets of my uncle and them, Lord knows, they taught me way wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, sometimes we, just like now, just like the other day, he put up at the shop, he said, I see him softening up. He said, Red, you know what? I see what you see now. I'm proud of the work that you're doing. My sister, I looked at my sister, she was about to cry. Because, you're seeing them softening up now, because, these are the things that, they want to be soft. My dad thinking, loving you is giving you money. You understand what I'm saying? And so some of us been taught the same way. If I buy this or I do this, you know what I mean? So, trying to, showing love through money. And sometimes we miss it. And so, how would you answer that question, Sierra? How would you answer that question? How do you ask for help if you don't understand it?
I think I have a hard time of asking for help when I know I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I don't like you to throw it back at my face like you helped me, like in the sense of I did it, or just in that sense. So that will stop me from like I would be dead something, like dead broke, dead honey, dead something, and still won't ask because it's like I don't like when people feel like they do something for me and then how I'm trying to word it, like hold it over my head or just do something for me. I'd rather you just don't help me at all because then I won't come back to you for anything.
I think that's like pride, though, because that's only somebody would just sit up on a boat and you got a hole in the boat and you need help, but at the same time too, I feel you on that, which I ain't never had nobody really help me like that, you know what I mean? Like with mine, like really just, what I'm saying is not throwing something up, you know what I mean? Like, it's like with life, we all, looking for stuff, and looking for, sometimes people be looking for validation. If that makes sense, that person who did that for you probably was looking for validation. Or how did you respond when they did do it? I always say this, what I love about Zion, he always gonna say thank you. I don't care what it is, thank you. Thank you. You know what I mean? He gonna make sure, Zion, you need anything? Or Zion, what you call, thank you. You know what I mean? And so, and I say this gonna be, we talk about, attitudes and all this stuff. Everything that we talk about now probably gonna be, we already wrote the sermon about it. So don't y'all think I'm gonna go wait there tonight and write what's called this about this because I already wrote and printed with it, right? And so you gotta really look at these things here because, the way y'all respond, so let me tell you something. A very prideful person will never be able to go to the next level. Because guess what it is? They're their own worst enemy. They're their worst enemy because you'll be going down the road and ain't got no money. And then you'll be doing more harm to your car, to your house, to your what you call this here. You'll be doing more harm to yourself. Because you ain't got no gas, you ain't got no money, you ain't got this here. And so I used to be like this though. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? So you don't even realize you buying yourself a bigger bill. It's not just that, but I'm just talking about anything that you do. If that makes sense, So the next question is, do you feel teens feel like they have a voice? I want y'all to answer that. Do you feel like teens feel like they got a voice? Do you feel like you got a voice, Lily?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like yes because I'm gonna make sure I voice my opinion and making sure it's out there. Making sure like I put it out there and like it's out there, so I don't have to be like
What about you, man?
Yes and no, because I don't like, if I,
You don't deal with confrontation well.
I don't. Because I can go from 0 to 100 real fast just because I haven't got over stuff from my past. And then it's like stuff triggers me every day. What happened? Like stuff with my dad and my dad are building a better relationship now. But it's like, it's just, yeah. So it's like I'll always let something eat me up before I tell anybody. But that's just because when I did try to talk, I was told how I felt didn't matter.
So now it's like this is good for you because you're able to talk about this. But here's the thing though. You know, the defense for the parents, they may not know. You know, because sometimes as me being younger, as a young parent trying to figure out life, I probably told Dominique what you saying don't even matter. And probably when I was younger, I'm saying these things out of anger because I don't like where I'm at this point.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I didn't realize, the reason I feel like I'm looking at you because I'm looking at my baby Dominique because I probably damaged her way more and Zion and all of them. You know, they seen the dad, you know what I mean? Dominique seen a younger person. And I say this is, you know, when it was in a spot of their life at, they probably wasn't settled enough to be able to say, hey, you know, but just to say, a parent say it doesn't matter, they probably speaking out of anger. Because when you speak, and sometimes it's not good to even speak out of anger now. That's why I had to catch, I'm asking God, you know, because sometimes, you know, I can go off too. You know what I mean? And so now, you know, I'm asking God, you know, put my mouth on mute. You know, I'm serious though. Put my mouth on mute. You better not say nothing. You better put my mouth on mute. But put my mouth on mute. You know, because let me, when I say this is because I can see, you know, I genuinely want people to do good. You understand what I'm saying? I genuinely want people to do good. But sometimes, you know, as a parent, we don't be in that right space in our life to even say that, you know, sometimes you might have caught us in a mid-sentence and where we was already frustrated with the world, we frustrated with the relationship, we were frustrated with the money, we frustrated with this, and then here come, you know, instead of we taking that break and taking that mental break and saying, let me talk to you for a minute softly. I'm learning this though. You know what I'm saying? Come on, I want you to talk. Come on.
Yeah, like what Diamond said earlier, if I like ask my dad or somebody something, I'll ask them a question like, can I talk to you? Or I'll ask a random question, and however like their tone is or their attitude when they answer it, I'll just go based off that. Do I really want to talk to you? Do I really feel like you're gonna listen and not just cut me off? Because that's what happens most of the time. Most of the time when I try to express myself, I get cut off and I have to hear their opinion on how I feel. And I really feel like, why would I want to come to you to hear your opinion? Because it really don't matter because I'm gonna feel how I feel regardless.
But I'm gonna say this again. It's like he may be in a different spot. You know, we as men, I'm learning something too while we sit and talking. I'll be honest with you, you know. So I'm learning. I remember, you know, I got Sierra mixed up, and I can say this about I got Sierra just like Zion. I didn't realize she was like Zion. You know, I had to learn her, so I had to learn that I can't really say nothing hard to her. I had to learn that. You know what I mean? And so now, you know, I was thinking Sarah was pretty much like if I had looked at it, she like Mariah too. You know, I gotta make sure that I deal with her on a different level. And so I think when you in that spot and you able to deal with them on a different level, you able to not looking at the pressures of life, not looking at what ain't got, or not looking at, oh man, here they come with another problem. Or here they come with this. So you got to be in that head space where you softly and you say, you know what though, this is what it is. But it's been in my face all the time because she like, what's the name of that? BTS. She like BTS. Zion like BTS. They like the same thing. They like music. They like what's called. They get in church and text about me. You know what I mean? So you mix Sarah, she back there with Zion. You know what I mean? They texting about me. They talking about me. But man, we're glad Dad hurry up. You know what I mean? All this stuff. You know, so it be stuff like that. But you know, as a parent, we be in a spot in our life, and I feel like we may not be happy with ourselves at some moment, or catch us in a moment. But not saying that it doesn't matter. You know, as a parent, that's a hard thing. You know, because sometimes you might catch us in the middle of frustration or trying to figure us out. You know, sometimes you gotta, because sometimes, you know, I say this right here. You know, as a daughter, it's a daughter. You know, it's hard for a daddy. You just got to know how to get through to him. Because if you know how to get through to him, man, there's nothing that he ain't going to do. You can believe that. Now, I'm boys now, but that girl come down, man, that girl go there, that girl running them tears down her eyes, do something to you. You know, you be like, oh, man, I just can't do this. You know what I mean? You know, I remember Mariah. I was supposed to whoop Mariah. And Cassandra told me, you go down in that room and you tear her up. I want you to tear her up. And I said, you right, I'm going to go tear her up. I got in that room. Mariah told me, said, Dad, it's going to hurt. I said, I'm going to tell her, Dad, it's going to hurt. I said, man. I'm going to tell you what you do. I'm going to hit your bed and I want you to scream. And I'll tell you, I told you this. And when Mariah came out of Cassandra said, okay, I see what this going on. Come on, Mariah, let me take you in the room. Because, you know, as a daddy, you know, you ain't, you know, but, and I say this is that I say be open, you know, be able to. Sometimes you got to catch him and say, hey, can we talk? And not just call, but sometimes you in his face and be able to say, hey, Dad, I want to talk to you. Because sometimes your phone call, you know, we might be in the middle of something, we might be doing something, you know what I mean? But that's no neglect, because it's your feelings at that moment. Because a girl feeling get hurt real quick. Y'all know it? Right. Y'all know it? Y'all know it? Y'all feeling get hurt quick, don't they? That feeling get hurt quick. Y'all feeling get hurt quick, man, don't it? Huh? With words, that's right. That's right.
But that's how you really feel at the moment. That's really how you feel.
Well, it's like, you know, I think, you know, with us men, and that's when it's not a good time to talk when you in the middle of frustration because you've been saying something, and these kids, you've been damaged these kids, and they be afraid to talk to you about something, and so, you know, just like, you know, you don't want to say, you know, stuff, but, you know, you've been saying something, you know. And so, you know, I say, you know, I would say, you and your dad have a conversation one-on-one. And just, when you in his face, you know, phone conversation, that's cool. But talking to your baby, you know. And then just, and you got to give him some mercy too now. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to give some mercy in the middle of this. Because you got two people hurting. Probably, you probably got two people hurting, you know, in the middle of that, you know. Then I'm always going to be there, you know. Put your phone. Yeah.
I forgave my dad for everything that he did. Like, we've got past that, but I just hate when people talk bad about my dad in front of me. Because it made me go on the fence, like, why do you feel like you could talk about my dad in front of me?
Right.
No matter what he did, that's still my dad. I'm still his child. I'm his first girl. I'm the first girl.
Right.
So I mean, like, I don't like that.
And so, you know, and I think sometimes the parents, we hear this as grown people, we can't say stuff around these kids about, you know, their parents. Right. So we got to pick and choose our conversation. We got to be aware and wait before we have the conversation. You know what I mean? So we had these conversations. We got to make it sure that, look, hey, it's automatic, you know, that, you know, before we have these conversations, we can't be doing that, you know, not in front of, you know, be talking about folks. Because people will get mad. You know, my kids get mad, you know. They will get mad. You talk about my dad. Yeah. And so, moving on from that one, that was a deep one there too. Don't want to put that one on the question. We won't come back that one. Okay. Do we run away from problems? Y'all know Do we run away from problems? Why do we run away from problems? Hold on. Everybody's talking. Everybody's talking. Why do we run away from problems? Hey, can y'all tell me why we Hey, let me tell me why we run away from problems. Can you? Why do we run away from problems?
Because you just don't want to deal with, just deal with it.
Right.
That's all. I don't have anything else to say. That's it. That's it.
Why do we deal with problems?
Well, because we don't want to face it. It's either guilt, or we're scared, or we just don't know how to handle it. And then that's when smoking weed and drinking comes in, because it's an escape for that moment until it wears off. Then it's like, well, now I got to face reality, and that's why people get addicted, because as long as they're addicted and they're high and they're not fully there, they don't have to face it.
Right. And that's, man, and that's what, and that's not only that we run to stuff that we shouldn't be running to when we don't want to face stuff. And most of the time we run to stuff that we ain't got no business running to. Right. Huh? Right. Y'all, so most of the time, okay, y'all jump in. So we, it's like if we run this stuff, and I think, what I think what happened, and I don't understand is that what the enemy does to us, he silences us. Right. And when he silences us, man, our mind run wild, man. We believe in everything that he's saying. Right. Everything is negative. Everything that's negative. We believe the negative what they said about us. We believe negative about ourselves. When we get silent, we just go off, You the counselor. Can you tell us why that? You the counselor. You like counselor. Come on now. We got a counselor right here. So tell us. Tell us why.
I definitely think it's with past experiences. So generational curses is one thing that we have to deal with. So if you can't deal with it at home, then you're gonna continuously run away from your problems. And like they say, you don't want to deal with it, or you don't want to keep having the same result. Some people think that even though they have a voice, they may not think it's important. And those are the things that I see working with the youth on a regular basis, is that they really don't have that feel of they are important either, as whoever else they may be dealing with.
Wow. And I think we have to create a safe space where we come in and talk about these things. And I feel like that's that thing, And what I'm learning is to be a better listener. Right. That's what I'm learning, to be a better listener. And then, because most of the time people just want to talk, they don't want a solution. Right. Do you see what I'm saying? And so we can get it out. I just need to get it out of me. Has church helped you have church help you in your life? Has it helped you? I mean, has church really helped many of y'all? I know we ain't got. I feel like that we in a place, but has church really help you? And I think when you come to church, whatever you bring, you gonna get out of it. And I say this, if you come in, and I feel like, and I'm finna get everybody holy and saved right now. When you come to church tomorrow, forget about everything that you was thinking about today. Right. Everything you was thinking about, whatever money, whatever is going on. I've learned that a long time ago, because I missed God so many different times, coming up in church, thinking about my problem. Instead of letting God do the surgery on me then. Right. Because what I did, I came up in the church house. I had so much. I had the more weight of the world. So I was trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing after leave, how I'm going to get this, and how this was going to happen. So when I come to the church, every time I leave a place out of ministry or whatever, I leave empty. I leave on E. Right. And that's what many of y'all got to really look at this thing right here. When you come in here tomorrow, you got to come in on E. Because if you don't come in on E and let the Holy Spirit fill you up, because, and this is what you got to really, if you don't get but one word, that's enough to take you through the rest of the day. If you don't get this right here, it's enough to take you through, That's what many of y'all got to really look at what's happening in your life, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't get this, if y'all don't get this, and most of the time we get so blinded by success. We want money, we want cars, we want houses. Can I tell you something though? And I'm gonna share this, a true testimony for me. I remember when I first started going to church, and I slid it off. When time of little success came, and I wound up losing it all. Time of little success came. I wasn't showing up. I wasn't doing this. I wasn't doing none of that. I used to be about the first or second of my day, doing all this stuff. But then when something else occupied my time, it messed me up. And you don't even realize once you lose that, man, it takes you a long time to get that back. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom for you to get that stride back again. I've learned every plan that I had wasn't of God, wasn't a God plan. Whether I made money in it, where I didn't make money in it. And so I was sad about it. When you get the money, you be sad. And when you ain't got the money, you be sad. That's a bad place to be. Because there's a missing void right there. And I see what many of y'all missing there. That's a missing void in it. You want to know how to conversate with your dad? It's one of these days, just pick up the book and get a scripture that you understand. Just one that you understand. Not what your grandmama tell you, not nobody. Just open it up. Open up the Bible and just say, hey, speak to me. He may not do it at that moment. He may not do it then, but when you'll be riding down the road, and then something will come to you, and it'll be how you'll be able to deal with your dad, how you'll be able to forgive, really forgive, and understanding that look, this is not who he is, but he's still trying to find himself. And so I got to give him mercy, just like I want him to give me mercy. If that makes sense, that's one of the things because church has really helped me. And let me ask y'all this big question. Why do teens not come to church? I feel like they're not being relatable. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't talking about the stuff they want to talk about. It's so much stuff that's going on in the high school that they got to deal with on a daily level. And y'all already know, we got all this stuff going on. Do you want to be a boy? Do you want to be a girl? Can you be a girl? Do all this stuff right here. So your kids hitting you in all these areas, sex, drugs, everything. You can get all that at school now. And so you can get it all at school. And so now you get so messed up. And so you don't even know that you understand what I'm saying? So you don't even realize, and I feel like, we need to have more of these here talking about what we're dealing with and really give these kids an opportunity to talk and really try to understand what they're going through on a daily level. Because and then make ourselves available to them to be able to help them get to the next level. Because when I say this is sometimes I say a counselor can help you because you may have this person here and they may be still in the streets. So they may give you their opinion and they may give you how they feel instead of just, we got to give them godly, counseling. Why do teens do not feel comfortable communicating? Because they don't feel like they're understood. And I feel like, as parents nowadays, we got to be able to if we don't do it, the streets gonna do it. Right. And this is a place where the church have to come together and say, hey, this is what we got to do. Amen. And so, we got to do that. Because there's so much going on, and we have to. But see, the church so big and fighting against each other and still coming. But here's again that most people is not saved in the church house, so you're still trying to figure out who you are. You can go and you can have church here, you can go praise, you can go do all this stuff, and then you still look like the streets. Y'all good? Y'all good? Okay. Now this. How was losing a parent affecting you? And I'm going to speak on that too because I lost my mom.
It took a big part of me because I grew up with my mom. I'm not going to say my dad wasn't there, but my dad was just running the streets and doing what he wanted to do. But that's old, but losing my mom did do something to me because that was you only get one mom. So it's like when I see my friends or like anybody disrespecting their mom, that it triggers me so bad because I think about it every day like, dang, like I don't even remember what she sounded like. I didn't get to say goodbye. My grandma didn't even tell me about the memorial that they had for her.
they left me out. When I was the one who took care of her, I was the one who handled her when she was sick. I was the one who was patient with her. So I watched her die. I really watched her die. I used to go to the hospital and see her every day. And I was forced to leave by my mom. So it's like, it's weird. You're acting like you were there for her, but it's like you really didn't care.
But can I say this in the defense of your woman? She probably was trying to make sure you was good. And I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds cliche. What was doing best for you? You know? And so, you know, these are the things that, you know, sometimes we take away, you know, those things, you know. But, you know, for me, you know, I wasn't there, you know what I mean? And so, you know, sometimes I know for me, losing my mother, it was one of the hardest things. I had to learn how to live all over again. I had to learn how to go through Christmas, holidays. Everybody done lost somebody. You know, if you done lost somebody, and not just to death, but I ain't talking about no boyfriend. I'm talking about somebody that matters to you. That you feel like, you know, with your mom, with your dad, you know, then when you lose somebody to that, you know, to that extent, that you know you ain't gonna never get that physical touch. You know what I mean? And so, you know, for us, you know, we can have these conversations up and down because I know I've lost my mother. And I know that's a big part, man. And I know with Sierra losing her dad, that was cool. You know what I mean? And so losing somebody, and Janelle lost her mother. And so, you know, when you lose somebody like that in your life, so, you know, you lose, you know, Diamond lost her father, Ray lost her daddy, you know, and these are the things that you know what I mean? So this affect you in different ways. But I can say this though, for me, I think, you know, just observing though, it's gonna be a whole lot of forgiving on your part. You're gonna have to forgive. And I say this is because I would say, have you ever had counseling, really, really professional counseling? You know, I would say get into counseling because they can help you deal with it. God, I've learned this from Janine. I swear to God, she helped me with this. She said, God would save your soul, but counsel would save your life. I couldn't understand that. But now I'm understanding that more better now. It's because that hit me. Because only thing I could say was God. But then God equipped other people to help you. You know, and I say this, you know, because that's in you know, for them not to be able to allow you to be able to say goodbye to your mother. See, I can't even speak on that because I was there when my mother died. You know what I mean? She died in my arms. You know what I mean? So I was there. You know, I was there while she was still there. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know, but you know, to be able to you know, be able, because I can't say what spot they was in at that moment. You know what I mean? And I don't know, were they close? Was your mom and her mom close? You know, because sometimes, you know, I could say from on this side of losing a child, you know what I'm saying? From losing a child, you know, I don't know where she was at the moment. Come on, go ahead. She was more close with her dad. And so, you know, these are the things that we have to be able to ask God to come in to fix us and help us. Because honestly, you have to, this is the biggest thing, you have to be able to forgive no matter what happened. And I think, you know, for many of us, we have to be able to forgive. And that's even in an upside down relationship or anything it is, or somebody did something to you, somebody hurt you, somebody what you call, but that's no compared to you losing your mama. So I can't tell you, you know, I can tell you how it was when I lost my mama. But at your age, I didn't have to go through school. And how old you was when you left your? Okay, 2018, and that's, you know, at that age, losing your mom, I can't even fathom about losing my mom at that age. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what you're going through now is not for none of us in here. It's for you. You know what I mean? So you're going to be able to help somebody else who's been there going through this. You know what I mean? So some other young girl out there starving and don't even understand why their mama died, how did it happen. And you know, when I look at this right here, when Mariah got killed in that car wreck, my mom was 71 years old when she died. And so I thought that was young. But when Mariah got killed in 25, then that brought a different perspective of life to me. But you know, if say I don't know how it is being grown up without a mama or your mama leave you or whatever. I don't know what it is there. But I can only just give my opinion. Well, until you don't carry that cross, it's hard to tell somebody that. But I know somebody who can help you though. That's Jesus Christ. I know who can help you on that one, you know. And this last one, and how do you control your feelings? How do you control your feelings? I say, first of all, without no God, you ain't got nothing. And I don't want to sound cliche to these kids because, you know, it's like, you know, I feel like you got to have somebody in your life that you trust that you can be able to talk to. And I think that's where it's all come down to. You got to have somebody in your life who you can trust. And I ain't talking about no male figure, somebody trying to get with you. I ain't talking about none of this stuff right here. Because sometimes we got to be able to go to God and hear his voice. The Holy Spirit will speak to you for the older one. But for these kids, you got to have somebody, you know, a grown-up or somebody you can talk to. Not no pedophile. Let's put that out there right now. You know what I mean? Not, you know, this is what you got to really look at these things here. So you got to be, because there's plenty of pedophiles out there to hold those deep conversations with you and trick you off somewhere. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, it got to be somebody. I always go back to, it need to be somebody licensed. Somebody who's a counselor. Somebody used to sit there and listen to you talk. Somebody used to hear everything up on the sound of my voice. You know what I mean? And so, but I can help you spiritually though. Spiritually though, I think that's a good place to start. That's a good place to start, spiritually. But at the end of the day, guess what? We're going to have to make up our own mind, and we got to be able to do some things, you know, really be able to come to him. And then, you know, he'll direct us, though. I promise this fast has been directing me. I promise God has been directing me. I'm hearing things differently. I'm seeing things differently. I'm feeling things differently. And this is what we have to be able to do. You know, I do want to say, say this last one, and I said that was the last one, but do you set goals? Y'all don't set goals? Y'all set goals? Okay, when you set goals, do you expect for them to do you set long-term, short-term? How do y'all set goals? How do you set goals?
So I would say I set goals based off of where I'm at in my life at that time. But recently I've been setting goals differently, because before I would set goals and I would want them to happen, but I wouldn't necessarily believe that they would because of like failures in the past. So now I make sure that when I set a goal, I will put like a reminder of like my capability next to it to remind myself. Because sometimes setting goals can be hard, because what if you had expectations of someone else or things in your life before then and they didn't happen? So then it kind of messes with, you know, like, do you have faith in this, or can you trust the plan? So that's something that I've recently been growing in.
I think, you know, with goals and stuff, you know, I don't think it has nothing to do with another individual. And that's where we mess up at. We set goals worrying about thinking that somebody else got our own best interest at hand. And so when you set goals, you know, because what do you do when the plan that you think is your number one plan and it don't work? I'm serious. That's your number one goal. That's what you don't put your all into it, and then it don't work. What do? You know what I say? First of all, you got to know how to come back to God, because that was an original plan. And most of the time, I always tell people, never get into something just to make money. Never get into it just because you broke, because you think different when you broke. because you thinking like, okay, this is the plan. This is the plan. When you broke, you looking at this is the plan. This is the plan. You ain't been more here from God than man in the moon. Do you know how much stuff I done went out on a limb and put money into and lost in it? You know how many times I done put into stuff that I know it wasn't even God, but I said I'm gonna get this bread. You know how many times I done got close to people and thinking they gonna open up a door for me, and I mess with y'all. Do you understand this right here? Do you know how many times I done turned my back on good people trying to get to the bread, trying to get to the bag, and then to find out had to go back across that bag? Y'all ain't saying nothing. Do you know how many times was that plan, was your plan, and sometimes it may not be good to go on your plan, and sometimes you got to be, because now you can go out, and I'm not telling you not to go hard for your plans, but make sure that plan, because, okay, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Then you've been woke up by 40 years old and find out that ain't the plan that you're supposed to be working in. That's what I say. You driving the wrong car, riding the wrong city, with the wrong kids, on the wrong vacation, out in the wrong restaurant. And so, you know, most of the time, you know what, I had to do something today. I promise I had to stop in my tracks. And I said, God, do you want me to build all these houses? I really did. I had to stop in my tracks. Say, God, do you want me to do this? And you know, because by trade, you know how to do this. And or is it gonna be? Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? And I think sometimes it takes a powerful person to stop in their track and say, okay, God, I'm waiting on your answer. See, because my answer, everything that I asked God for when I was broke, I went the wrong way. I'm serious. I thought this was a career. I thought this was I thought this right here. You ever start trying to, okay, just like they used to have this stuff like, you know, like you're going to look like, you know, they had the little milkshake losing weight. I try to sell that. That ain't happen. Then they had this thing about selling gas. You know, like little gas, like you know, like the gas for your house. I went to the seminars. I done spent all the money. I'm seeing everybody get up there talking about, well, you know, I'm making $10,000 a month. I'm what you call this right here. Everything's really well. Everything's this here. And so now I'm all over the place because I'm seeing what they doing. And they doing it. And they really doing it. And because, you know why? That's what they're calling. But it wasn't my calling. And so what I tried to do is imitate somebody else's calling. And so what I ain't doing now is imitate somebody else's calling. Because we got many gifts, but that one gift is going to create the bread. Because you got to really understand what he has for you. When your goals fail, let me ask you a question. When your goals fail, that's when God goes to kick in. That's where we have to really look at this, you know. I do want to just say, you know, thank you for everybody who's watching us. I hope everybody got something out of this right here. You know, it's been a good time, you know. And, you know, this is not going to be our last time because I do want to do one with a bunch of teams and just see what they saying and see how they react because I feel like this is a good time that we all can, this is a good time that we all can come together and we can just, you know, share our views and share our stuff and, you know, being able to open up and say, hey, this is where it's all at. You know what I mean? And so, you know, but I'm grateful that God has really did something in our life and just really opened up the thing. So I really want to thank everybody who's watching us. And today is a good day. So I hope y'all streaming tomorrow, watching our service. And I'm praying in Jesus' name. Heavenly Father, we want to come to you today. We just want to thank you, God, just for your grace and your mercy, God. We believe everything you said about us. God, this is the day you have made, and we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.